Hello everybody and welcome back to day 3 of Insomnia69, our final day here at the event, and we've got all of the top games coming at you later today. As expected, our top 4, the invite group that we started with, they've all made it through to the final day, and we're going to be starting things off with TF2 Easy versus SVIFT in a couple of hours. First of all, can I get your opinions on this game? Cadus and Wandem, whichever one of you wants to go first.
TF2 Easy versus SVIFT, you said?
I did.
Not gonna lie, I've 100% watched all of SVIFT's games and I know exactly what they do and how they play. So based on that intel, I'm gonna say that I feel like TF2 Easy probably gonna be able to manage that one.
I don't know if we can expect SVIFT versus TF2 Easy to be really anything other than a 5-5. If TF2 Easy is serious about trying to take it to this gaming, they need to be better than having this game. If we're getting to make or break, and they're going to have to step up.
Yeah, I like this one. If TF2 Easy struggle against SVIFT, I think the lower finals are doomed in terms of like potential storylines. It's just going to be like a one-way ticket for this.
All right, fair enough. So we can recap a bit of what happened yesterday for anyone who missed it. Of course, froyotech did win out that winners bracket final late last night and made it into the grand final. They don't have to play at all today. They are waiting in the grand final. They get to watch everything that all the other teams do today, maybe learn a bit from that. They also get those 2 bans. How much of an advantage do you think the 2 bans is going to be, and being able to see all the other teams in action today?
Do not like to play against basically anyone. So I think, whichever one of those ends up going up against Froyo, that one permaban is going to be a problematic map. But I mean, you only need to win 3 maps though, so it's not going to be the end of the world. In particular, in Witness's case, I think their map pool is like pretty strong, so I think they'll be okay. I think the chance for Froyo to stand behind and watch Witness play TF2 Easy, if we get that match in lower, I feel like I don't think Froyo have really had the chance to do that yet, to just watch the actual player paths. So that could be potentially something that's like, another feather in their cap, so to speak.
I think it's kind of like, I spoke to, I think it was Patty and Jay last night, and both of them kind of in agreement that, at least for froyotech, they don't really feel any pressure of banning like specific maps against Witness Gaming. They're kind of confident in their ability to adapt when the time comes. At least they weren't willing to disclose if there was a map that they kind of wanted to ban against Witness. So, I mean, I think it speaks a lot to froyotech and how confident they are that they're just willing to do whatever against Witness Gaming. I mean, they won all 4 maps that they played down, like be in close fashion, but
Yeah, I mean, it's not that they have any maps in particular that they would need to ban on the side of froyotech. It's just the fact that those permabans, as Cadus mentioned, will be getting through. It's almost a 1-0 start for froyotech. They're both very strong NA maps as well. Metalworks is the permaban of Witness, Product is the permaban of TF2 Easy, and either of those maps, froyotech are going to be rolling over if they allow those maps through, which they will. There's no reason for froyotech to ban out the opponent's permaban.
I do just want to bring in some archaic lore here, just for food for thought. So if we cast our minds back to the original Rewind LAN, not Rewind 2, the LAN of Mexican Death, the good Rewind. 7 made it to the grand final. I was coaching them, so I wasn't involved in these games, and it was basically this circumstance: froyotech in the grand final, having both the bands best of 5, and they played 7. They first picked Sunshine, and at that time, back then, this was so long ago, Sunshine was not actively played in EU, so they thought first pick Sunshine. They've banned it all tournament. They don't play it in EU, so we'll pick that first and win it. But Ali, who was the main caller for 7 at that point, was just like, guys, I've pugged this map. I've played a Sunshine Cup or something like this. Just listen to me. We're going to go for it, and we're just going to go freestyle, no pressure. If we lose, we lose, no big deal. And 7 won that map. That game went to 5 maps, but 7 won their permaban, a map they literally did not practice at all. So Never say never. Never say never on these ones. Never say never.
All right, interesting. Well, we are going to have most likely rematches of two games that happened yesterday, both the TF2 Easy versus Witness, which ended up with Witness knocking TF2 Easy into the lower bracket, and we expect Witness to be able to come out on top again, and we may see the Witness versus Froyo rematch in the grand final. Do you expect both of those games to go the same way? You think Witness will be making the final here, and what do you think of the games that happened last night?
I think, yeah, I really expect to see both rematches. I mean, just like, I don't know, let's talk, I guess if we're talking Witness TF2 Easy, I have quite a few thoughts on that. I don't want to mic hog too much, but I'll just say, like, my instincts tell me we're going to get a pretty similar result, but if I kind of like put myself in TF2 Easy's shoes, I feel like I don't think Witness played that well yesterday. Like, I think Witness were comfortable but not clinical yesterday. Like, they were winning mids, they were having very, very comfortable mids, whereas TF2 Easy, I don't think they had a clean mid fight the entire series. They did win a couple of mids, technically, but they never had a mid where they could just get around from that mid. So they were always trailing. Like, Witness were having these clean mids, getting around, playing like crap for the rest of the map, but they had around, so it didn't matter. And TF2 Easy never got one of those mids, never got one of those confidence boosting round, like a statement round. They never got a single one. So like, there was so much stuff TF2 Easy could take from that game and try and fix, and be working overnight to try and improve it. But for me, it's like, if they can just if they could only improve one thing, it's their mids. They have to be able to get clean mids against Witness. That's kind of like my main take at the moment.
I think at this point, if you are supporting TF2 Easy, you have to start worrying a lot about the mental factor, right? This is going to be the fourth time that they're going to play up against Witness Gaming, and they've not managed to take a map off them. Like, they've lost 2-0, 2-0 both times at iSeries. They lost 3-0 in the ETF World Grand Finals. They're going to have to pull out something different, something a bit more special to try and take it to Witness.
Yeah, they lost 2-0 in ETF regular season as well, right?
Yes,
so what is that?
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they're 9-0. They're 9-0 with these rosters.
Yeah.
It's not looking that good. It's not looking good.
Okay. So humour me, we don't expect TF2 Easy to be making it past that Witness stage. How do you think a TF2 Easy versus Froyo matchup in the final would theoretically come out? Do you think those teams have a bit of, they're more the same style and that would play into one of the team's hands a bit more, or is it not even worth thinking about?
Like, if I hadn't seen the group stage game, if I hadn't seen part of the group stage game, I would say, maybe TF2 Easy just don't match up well with Witness, and maybe they'll match up better with Froyo, but they didn't look that great in the Froyo matchup either. So, I mean, I would say, yeah, they have the capacity, because they do play a different style to Witness, so it would give Froyo something new to think about, hypothetically, but they would need, like, such big performances. Like, I've been saying this thing about Nubby, not on broadcast so far, but, like, I've been saying he's been connecting but not impacting, by which I mean he's been hitting some nice rockets, like you see him hitting these nice directs on soldiers, but apart from like a 4K on Process yesterday, of the games I've seen, I don't remember like a big impact play from him. He had one 4K, but other than that, I don't remember like a big med drop or a big like opening frag in a mid fight or something, just a big impactful play that, the types that we're seeing in Jay and Silentes in particular get. So it's like, he's one guy I would single out as saying he would just need to be 100%. And the same goes for like others on that team as well. They would have to not only play their best game, but probably elevate themselves above what we've seen from them so far, which isn't completely impossible. If TF2 Easy were to get to the stage can do things to you. It can do bad things or it can do good things. Like, some of the best performances I've seen from certain players, I'm going to shout out Captain. Like, Captain was a guy who came alive on the stage. Okay, he was a great player already, sure, but from playing with him on a stage, it was like, I was main calling all the time, usually, but then on stage, suddenly Captain, this usually quite quiet and timid guy, was like, I'm going to say everything. I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to hit directs all over the place, and I'm going to win the game. And you're going to listen to me. And I was just like, whoa, Captain, can you do this every game? Like, holy hell. So if they could, like, have that kind of a feel on the stage, You never know. You never know.
And what
And
about?
I think that honestly kind of just comes down to the experience that this roster is lacking, right? None of the players on TF2 Easy have ever been on this final stage before. And when you don't know what's going to happen when you're on that final stage, it's so much harder to deal with it when you're actually in there, right?
Yeah.
Like at least, I mean, Witness Gaming, the only player with stage experience on that team is Celentes, but that little bit of stage experience is so important just to kind of know what to expect. And it would, I mean, it would change things dramatically if somehow TF2 Easy managed to beat Witness Gaming. But, I mean, they'd have to find something special.
And Juan, I remember in the interviews, you had a bit of a chat with Froyo before LAN. They did say that TF2 Easy was the team they actually found harder to beat. Obviously, they had a bit of experience playing in the Unity Cup with a mixed NA roster, and they thought that TF2 Easy was kind of the team they had more struggles with. Do you think they'll have put that opinion out the window now after these games at LAN?
I mean, I think Witness Gaming, at least from my perspective, has kind of gone through a transformation in playstyle from what they were a couple seasons ago to how they're playing the game now. With the introduction of the round timer, like Happy has for a long time been the sort of most aggressive main caller in EU, or at least the one most willing to take fights. Where TF2 Easy have always kind of been a little bit slower, a little bit more hesitant to put the pedal to the metal. Now with these rule changes, I think Witness Gaming, they're so good at playing the rule sets. They're so good at setting up these last holds and just going for resets. And I think froyotech, this LAN, if there's anything that they've struggled to deal with, it's how to counter these last holds.
Yeah, I think that's like a really key point. And just to kind of expand on that as well, like not only are Witness like very, very in tune with the rule set and what you can kind of do within it, but the last time Froyo had actual server contact with these players, okay, they can look at logs and things like that and get an idea of the landscape, but the last time like Banny and whoever else played in the Unity Cup played these guys, one thing is Sil was on the other team, Sil was on TF2 Easy, so like he's obviously a big player and now he's with Witness, but not just that, Witness have gone into like LAN motivation mode since then. Back in that cup era, they just kind of put a team together, they were playing, it was like, okay, we hope we win, but if we don't, it's not the end of the world. But when LAN, international LAN motivation kicked in, they were like, they went into overdrive, they stepped up their game, they improved pretty much every facet of their play, and that's not something Froyo probably saw coming into this LAN. They don't know the players on that kind of intimate level, so they probably just expected a fairly even keel. But nah, Witness have cranked it up like these last couple of months.
And speaking of the 5-minute rule set, what do you guys think? Now, this is the first LAN, at least in EU, that we've been playing on it. Do you think it's improved the game? Do you think it's maybe made it a bit worse? Do you think it's going to stick around into the next season? Juan, I see you giggling already, so you've got to answer this one first.
I want to be honest, like, it's definitely thrown a curveball into the mix, but I think it's just so interesting to see how differently it's impacted North America and Europe. If you watch the RGL LAN, it was non-stop action all of the time, and the teams over there are so much more willing to push. But I remember even casting the 3-minute round time in the tournament on the B stream, I was just sitting there thinking, we cannot have this in EU, because we would just never push. And we're so much more willing to just abuse the rule sets over here. And I think we're finally sort of seeing that in fruition, even with this 5-minute round timer now. I mean, I think mostly, honestly, I think it comes down to some of the maps. I think we saw the product game yesterday of TF2 Easy versus froyotech. It was still very intense. We've seen that Witness Gaming, if they want to, they can play the aggressive style. But on maps like Snakewater, I think Snakewater specifically, one of those maps, it just gets exposed so hard by this 5 minutes.
Yeah, I completely agree. And since you've given me a nice clean opening there, I'm going to take a moment to rail on Snakewater. That map is not very good, but with the 5-minute round timer, it has shown us something that we already were beginning to learn ever since this hold came into effect on last, where the gun can see lower, most of top right and drop down. Ever since that hold has been a thing, in my opinion, that last point has just been categorically broken. Like, if that map was designed fresh today and had that last, people would say, no, sorry, this map is not fit for the map pool, it needs changes. And I feel like this 5-minute round timer has kind of exposed that even more so. Yeah, I've forgotten the original point. I just heard a chance to bash Snakewater, and so I'm rolling with it. But yeah, change that map, get that map out of the map pool. Terrible, terrible.
were you going to say something?
I mean, do you think that if you just remove the sentry spot in front of the point, would that help things?
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. Like, the gun needs to be able to see, the gun needs to be able to, the gun should not be able to see drop down and lower and top right, in my opinion. Like, I feel like the power from that gun comes from seeing drop down, which means you have because there used to be a really popular place to peek a sniper from or something like that. Having zero sniper threat, because once you have top right controlled, having zero sniper threat top left, it just removes one of the biggest tools teams had to break that already quite obnoxious last stalemate. So yeah, like you said, Witness in particular are just so good at abusing this fact. And with the 5-minute round timer, even with the 10-minute round timer, I thought it was broken. But with 5-minute round timer, it's not even it's not a comfortable push out of last either. So it's why would you do anything else? Like when you said about NA not in the RGL, but when they had the 3-minute round timer, okay, you can give them credit for being able to do good pushes and stuff. But there were times when it was yo, you're playing Froyo, you're getting 5-0'd at that LAN. Not at the most recent one, but at that LAN with the 3-minute round time, you're getting 5-0, 5-0'd in 10 minutes. Froyo speed around that LAN, it's just hold last and reset, please, I beg you. But they wouldn't, they were determined to push, but yeah.
So do you think the 5-minute is better for the game? Do you think it should be got rid of, or no opinion really?
I think it is better overall, because I think, like I said, we do have these kind of points like Snake Glass in the game where even without a 5-minute round timer, I think we still see, if not for the 5-minute round timer, instead of getting a reset after 5 minutes, we would get 8-minute stalemates. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we would still be getting long stalemates on certain points. So I feel like it's better overall, and it brings a certain amount of intrigue because it adds new components. Maybe in a couple of years, the novelty will have worn off. These new kind of meta components of playing for the reset will have gone, and we'll just be this isn't as good. But right now, while it's actually brought a fresh kind of look to the meta, I like it better personally.
Yeah, it's just been really interesting to see this big of a shift in the meta, because it's been such a long time since we've seen something like this. Without the updates and stuff, we're kind of relying on teams to innovate a lot. And when it's one team in froyotech dominating as much as they have over in North America, it's kind of the same in Witness. The meta moves, but it moves a lot slower than if you suddenly implement something like this. And it's been really interesting to see what teams have been doing with it.
I'm a hater personally. I don't like seeing these resets. I'd much rather have people moving back and forth across the map. But I'm not going to hate the player. I'm going to hate the game. Witness, they're doing the right thing, I think, by trying to reset as much as possible. It's just the best thing that you can do on the config. So, Cadus, I know a lot of people have been saying they think you've spoken to Witness, you've forced them into doing this 7 slow die, etc. But obviously backstage you've been saying it's all their choice. They saw the config and came up with it themselves. It's not the influence of the Kado coach.
I mean, I can't speak for what influence I may have had outside of my actual direct contact with them, because obviously, they were a team that when I was playing, they were a team that were competing with us almost. They couldn't actually ever quite beat us in a best of 3, but they were going toe to toe with us, and I know that they were looking at a lot of what we did, imitating some of it, trying to innovate upon some of it. And since we've been gone, they've been they've innovated and continued to kind of progress that play style. So it's not like I've come in, told them you guys should play like this. It's more as you say, the rule set has come in, and it's a natural progression of how they already thought about the game. Don't get me wrong, I've been working with them a little bit on the side, and I've been, how should we say, helping them to tidy up certain components of how they do it. And they've been asking, do you think this is optimal? Do you think this is what we should do? And I've been giving them my opinion, which, as you guys can probably guess,
is correct.
I'm these are good options. But predominantly, my role has just been tidy up the stuff they already have and optimize the stuff they want to do as much as possible. And only if there's something that's absolutely broken will I say, don't do that, do this instead. But those have been 1 or 2 things. Everything else, it's just been a case of, it's them at the helm, and I'm just helping them keep the ship steady, you know what I mean?
All right, let's start talking about what's going to happen today, and we can speed things up and get this one wrapped up. First of all, 0 to 10, both of you. We'll start with Wandom. Chance of SVIFT beating TF2 Easy.
I'll go with a VAT 0.1%.
Okay, Cadus.
I'm going to go with 3.5, and the 3.5, the 3 comes from the potential that TF2 Easy are just mentally broken and something crazy happens on the Swift side, like they get an early round and we see a really strange game. The 0.5 comes from the Samsky factor because he's been having some games this LAN.
All right, and then same thing again, TF2 Easy beating Witness, chances 1 to 10.
I think probably like a 3, honestly. Like coming into it, there's a chance that, I mean, I did speak to him a little bit last night. But maybe Josh has some weird stuff just cooked up and he just throws it out of nowhere. I don't know. I mean, at this point, TF2 Easy don't have that much to lose. They just kind of throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. Maybe they get lucky. I'll call it luck.
Yeah, I think luck is probably what they need. I would give them like a, I'll give them like a 4 because I think if they play their absolute best game and Witness get off to like a, maybe Witness are already eyes on the grand final, trying to prep for that, and they take their eye off the ball. Maybe TF2 Easy can catch them cold. So I'll give them like a 4. But like, yeah, so many things have to be improved from yesterday.
And then finally, of course, the EU Copium question. If it is this Witness froyotech grand final, who's going to be taking it?
Witness Gaming, of course. Easy.
I mean, yeah, like I'm just going to perennially stick by my boys. I mean, okay, froyotech are the favorites at this point. Even though the games have been crazy close, and I'm going to say, like, Granary was the closest yet yesterday. Like, I even heard from some, I'm not going to say who, but from some of the actual Froyo players' mouths, they were like, yeah, we shouldn't have won that map. They know it as well. But the fact is they did. They're closers, and so far Witness have not been closers in these close maps. So
Witness have been leading almost all the maps before.
Yeah, exactly. And now Froyo, this is also what someone from Froyo said to me, now they're extra confident. They're like, well, even if we're losing, we feel like we can win. So they have to be the favorites. And especially when you factor in things like the veto and things like that. But I've got to stick to my boys. Witness can do this. They can do this. So
well,
10 for Witness. 10
for Witness, incredible. All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We will be back in about 20 minutes with our first game of the day. We've got the B Tournament Grand Finals coming up soon, and we'll catch you around. Hello.
I hope this mic isn't on, because then I can just talk. That's a lot of power you're giving me right now. So you're
Want to say something really controversial quickly?
Nubby's had a good LAN.